There's something undeniably magnetic about the unknown, the way it tugs at our curiosity, urging us to step beyond the familiar and into the shadows of what's yet to be discovered. Picture this: you're standing at the edge of a gaping canyon, its depths swallowed by darkness, its walls etched with the passage of time. The air hums with whispers of ancient civilizations, of explorers who vanished without a trace, and of secrets buried deep within the earth. This isn't just a crack in the planet's surface, it's a gateway to another world, one that's remained hidden for centuries. And today, we're venturing into these lost canyons, caves, and caverns, places where the line between myth and reality blurs, where every crevice holds a story waiting to be unearthed. From the labyrinthine tunnels beneath the deserts of Namibia to the submerged caves of Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, these geological marvels are more than just stunning natural formations. They're time capsules preserving clues about our planet's turbulent history, from shifting continents to the rise and fall of forgotten cultures. Some were carved by rivers that vanished millennia ago. Others were shaped by forces so immense they defy imagination. And then there are those that seem almost purposeful, as if nature itself conspired to keep them hidden. What draws us to these places? Is it the thrill of discovery, the allure of the unexplored, or something deeper, a primal connection to the mysteries that lie beneath our feet? This journey isn't just about rocks and rivers. It's about the human spirit, the relentless drive to explore, to understand, and to stand in awe of the world's hidden wonders. Along the way, we'll unravel legends of lost cities, decode the scientific marvels that shape these subterranean realms, and maybe even question what it means to truly discover something. By the time we're done, you won't just see these canyons and caves as empty spaces on a map. You'll feel their pull, their mystery, and the weight of the stories they've guarded for centuries. So take a deep breath. We're about to dive into the Earth's most enigmatic corners, and trust me, you won't want to miss what we find. There's a reason lost canyons captivate us. They're not just gaps in the Earth, but portals to the past. Take Yemen's Wadi Hadramaut, a sprawling gorge where towering cliffs hide ancient mud brick cities, their walls still bearing inscriptions from civilizations that thrived here thousands of years ago. Or Namibia's Fish River Canyon, a serpentine crack in the desert so vast and remote that entire species of plants and animals exist nowhere else on the planet. These places aren't just landscapes, they're silent witnesses to time itself, preserving stories in layers of rock and sediment. What makes them so alluring isn't just their age or beauty, it's their defiance. Despite satellites and drones, some corners of these canyons remain blank spots on our maps. The Grand Canyon, one of the most studied places on Earth, still holds side gorges so narrow and twisting that no human has ever set foot inside. It's humbling to realize that in an era of relentless exploration, pockets of the unknown still persist. And then there are the myths. For the Navajo, certain canyons are sacred, places where spirits whisper through the wind, warning outsiders away. These stories aren't just folklore, they're a reminder that some places resist being fully known, guarding their secrets with sheer cliffs and shifting sands. But the real magic lies in how these canyons transform. Erosion doesn't just carve rock, it sculpts time. A single storm can rewrite a canyon's course, exposing fossils or artifacts buried for millennia. In places like Peru's Colca Canyon, where condors ride thermal updrafts past terraces built by the Inca, you can see the dialogue between nature and culture written into the walls. Every layer tells a story: volcanic eruptions, ancient floods, the slow dance of continents. To stand at the edge of one of these chasms is to feel the pulse of the planet, a rhythm measured not in years but in epochs. And that's the irresistible pull, the chance to touch something older, wilder, and far more mysterious than ourselves. Caves have always existed at the crossroads of reality and myth, places where the physical world seems to dissolve into something older, stranger, and far more profound. Consider the Oracle of Delphi, where a priestess inhaled vapors rising from a fissure deep in the earth, her cryptic prophecies shaping the destiny of kings and empires. Or the Amarnath cave in the Himalayas, where stalagmites of ice form a shimmering lingam, believed by Hindu devotees to mark the very spot where Shiva revealed the secrets of immortality. These aren't just geological oddities, they're sacred spaces where humanity has, for millennia, sought answers from the darkness. What's striking is how similar these stories are across continents. In Mexico's Naka mine, the Cave of Crystals stretches like a cathedral of light, its selenite pillars glowing as if frozen mid-dance. To the Aztecs, this was Chalchutlacu's domain, a watery underworld where time stood still. Half a world away, the Maori of New Zealand speak of Uamoko, the god of earthquakes stirring in his subterranean caves. And in Norse mythology, the underworld hell waits beyond a cave's mouth, its gates guarded by a hound with blood-stained fur. These parallels aren't coincidence. Caves, with their echoing chambers and impenetrable shadows, became canvases for our deepest fears and hopes. They're thresholds, places where the ordinary rules of life seem to pause, and anything might be waiting just beyond the reach of torchlight. But why caves? Why not mountaintops or forests? The answer lies in their defiance. Unlike rivers or valleys, caves resist conquest. Even today, with our drones and satellites, their deepest passages remain unmapped. To ancient people, they were literal portals, entrances to realms where gods dwelled, where souls journeyed after death, or where creation itself began. In the Aboriginal Dreamtime, ancestors emerged from caves to shape the world. The Maya believed cenotes led to Xibalba, a labyrinthine underworld where the dead played ball games with the gods. And in Plato's famous allegory, the cave isn't just a prison, it's a metaphor for the limits of human understanding, a reminder that reality might be far stranger than we perceive. Perhaps that's the true power of these legends. They transform caves from hollows in the earth into mirrors, reflecting our oldest questions. What waits beyond the light? Are we alone in the universe? The stories we've spun around them of gods and monsters, of prophecy and peril aren't just flights of fancy. They're proof that exploration isn't just about charting the unknown. It's about confronting what the unknown says about us. Every culture that ever stood at a cave's entrance, torch trembling in hand, faced the same thrilling, terrifying possibility that the world might be far bigger and far stranger than they ever imagined. And in that moment, the line between explorer and storyteller vanishes. Deep beneath the surface, caves and canyons aren't just wonders to explore, they're history books written in stone, water, and time. Take the colossal stalactites of Vietnam's Son Doong Cave, each one a silent chronicler of Earth's past. Like tree rings, their mineral layers trap clues about ancient climates, revealing shifts in rainfall and temperature over hundreds of thousands of years. Scientists can read these formations like pages, uncovering stories of droughts that reshaped civilizations or ice ages that locked the planet in frost. It's a humbling thought. These dripping limestone sculptures hold memories older than humanity itself. Then there's Antarctica's Blood Falls, a scarlet cascade staining the ice like a wound. At first glance, it seems almost supernatural, but the truth is even stranger. The canyon's rust-colored waters are home to microbes that thrive without sunlight or oxygen, surviving in briny pockets buried beneath glaciers for millions of years. These extremophiles rewrite the rules of life, proving that even in the harshest corners of our planet, biology finds a way. Discoveries like these don't just expand our understanding of Earth, they hint at where life might exist beyond it, in the frozen oceans of Europa or the methane lakes of Titan. Technology has become our torch in the darkness, illuminating secrets once thought unreachable. LiDAR scans peel back layers of rock like an onion, revealing hidden chambers and lost rivers without ever breaking ground. Ground-penetrating radar maps the bones of canyons, showing how water carved them grain by grain over eons. Yet for every cave we chart, a dozen more remain untouched. The Lechuguilla Cave in New Mexico, for instance, stretches over 140 miles, its crystal-lined passages still being explored decades after its discovery. And who knows what waits in the uncharted depths of China's Tankeng, the heavenly pits so vast they create their own weather systems. This dance between knowledge and mystery is what keeps scientists and adventurers coming back. Each breakthrough raises new questions. How did these formations evolve? What life hides in their darkest corners? The answers aren't just academic. They teach us about resilience, adaptation, and the fragile balance of our planet's ecosystems. And perhaps that's the greatest lesson these subterranean labyrinths offer. The more we learn, the more we realize how much is still waiting, silent and unseen, beneath our feet. The Americas hold some of the most breathtaking underground realms on Earth, places where nature's artistry collides with human history in ways that still leave scientists and explorers speechless. Take New Mexico's Lechuguilla Cave, a hidden masterpiece stretching over 140 miles beneath the desert. Unlike typical limestone caves carved by water, Lechuguilla was sculpted by sulfuric acid, its walls adorned with delicate gypsum formations resembling frozen waterfalls. These chandeliers, some as tall as two-story buildings, took 250 million years to form, each crystalline thread a testament to patience beyond human comprehension. Then there's Peru's Tempishka, known as the Boiling River, where steaming waters cut through the Amazon like a serpent of mist. Scientists long dismissed local legends until they confirmed the river's scalding temperatures reaching up to 200 degrees Fahrenheit were caused by geothermal fault lines, not volcanoes. For the indigenous Shipibo people, this river has always been sacred, a place where spirits cleanse the soul. It's a powerful reminder that some truths are held first in stories, long before science catches up. Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula tells a similar tale. The Maya didn't just live among cenotes. These sinkholes were portals to Xibalba, the underworld, where rituals unfolded in the flickering light of torches. Today, divers still uncover artifacts in their depths, jade masks, ceramic offerings, even evidence of ancient droughts that may have toppled civilizations. But the caves aren't frozen in time. In 2021, explorers in Quintana Roo stumbled upon a submerged passage linking two caverns, revealing a gallery of untouched stalactites and prehistoric remains. What's astonishing is how these discoveries keep rewriting the map. In Tennessee's Cumberland Plateau, cavers recently navigated a tight squeeze dubbed the Birth Canal to find a chamber studded with rare, translucent minerals. Meanwhile, Brazil's Toca da Boa Vista stretches over 70 miles, its tunnels so remote that new species of blind crustaceans are still being catalogued. These places aren't just geological wonders, they're living museums where every expedition can rewrite textbooks. Perhaps that's the real magic of the Americas' hidden depths. They refuse to be fully known. Whether it's the echoing halls of a Nevada lava tube or the bioluminescent fungi glowing in Puerto Rico's Camay caves, these subterranean worlds remind us that mystery still thrives, sometimes just beneath our feet. And for those willing to listen, the rocks themselves have stories to tell. Asia's underground realms are where the Earth's raw power collides with human devotion on a scale that defies belief. Take China's King, the deepest sinkhole on the planet, a vertical chasm so immense that clouds often swirl at its base, giving it the name Heavenly Pit. But what makes this abyss truly astonishing isn't just its dizzying depth, equivalent to stacking the Eiffel Tower twice over. It's the thriving ecosystem hidden within. Rare ferns cling to its walls, their roots tracing fault lines like veins, while butterflies found nowhere else on Earth flutter through shafts of sunlight. Local legends say this was where the sky touched the Earth, and standing at its rim, it's easy to see why. The air hums with the scent of damp moss and something older, as if the canyon itself is breathing. Then there's Borneo's Deer Cave, a cathedral of limestone so vast it could swallow 5 football fields whole. By day, its chambers lie still, the only sound the drip of water echoing through stalactites. But as dusk falls, the cave transforms. Millions of bats spiral into the twilight like living smoke, their exodus so dense it registers on weather radar. For the indigenous Pennant people, this spectacle isn't just biology, it's a celestial dance, the bats carrying prayers to the spirit world. Scientists, meanwhile, marvel at how these creatures shape the surrounding rainforest, their guano fueling an entire ecosystem. It's a reminder that caves aren't just empty spaces, they're living, pulsing organs of the planet. Bhutan's Taksang Palphog Monastery takes this connection between earth and spirit even further. Perched like a swallow's nest on a cliffside cave, this sacred site is said to be where the Guru Padmasambhava meditated for 3 years, 3 months, 3 weeks, and 3 days, his presence so powerful it imprinted on the rock itself. To reach it, pilgrims navigate narrow trails that cling to the mountainside, each step a test of faith. Inside, butter lamps flicker in the gloom, their light reflecting off murals depicting demons subdued and wisdom won. The monastery isn't just built in a cave, it's woven into it as if the mountain willingly opened its arms to shelter the divine. Yet these wonders face threats as towering as their cliffs. At China's Tankeng, plastic waste blown in from distant cities now carpets the sinkhole's floor, a grim contrast to its primordial beauty. In Borneo, deforestation disrupts the bats' feeding grounds, their nightly flights growing thinner each year. And in Bhutan, the very pilgrims who revere Taksang risk eroding its fragile foundations with their footsteps. Conservation here isn't just about protecting rock and wildlife, it's safeguarding the stories, the rituals, the intangible threads that bind people to these landscapes. The lesson these sites teach is universal. Caves and canyons aren't just geological accidents, they're mirrors reflecting our deepest fears and highest aspirations. Whether it's a scientist cataloging new species in the Tankeng's depths, a villager leaving offerings at Taksang, or a traveler gazing up at Borneo's bat-filled sky, we're all drawn to these hidden worlds for the same reason. They remind us that mystery still exists not just in the Earth's hidden corners, but in our own capacity to wonder. Europe's underground holds secrets that blur the line between history and legend. Beneath Slovenia's rolling hills, Postojna Cave stretches for 15 miles, its labyrinthine passages once serving as a vault for priceless art during World War II. Imagine crates of Renaissance paintings stacked beside stalagmites, their pigments safe from bombs while the world above burned. But this cave story didn't start with war. For centuries, locals whispered of a dragon dwelling in its depths, a myth born from the eerie calls of ohms, ghostly pale salamanders that live in its pools, blind and ageless. These human fish, as they're called, can survive without food for a decade, their existence a silent rebuke to our hurried world. Then there's France's Lascaux Cave, where the flicker of a teenage boy's lantern in 1940 revealed something extraordinary. Walls alive with charging bulls and galloping horses, painted 17,000 years ago. These weren't crude sketches, but masterpieces, shadows sculpted into the rock, pigments mixed from minerals and animal fat. The artists used the cave's natural contours to give their subjects movement, so a bison's shoulder might swell from a limestone bulge. Today, the original cave is sealed to protect its fragile art, but the replica nearby, Lascaux 4, lets visitors step into a world where humans first discovered the power of storytelling. It's humbling to think these images outlasted empires, their creators speaking across millennia with nothing but ochre and torchlight. Romania's Movile Cave offers a different kind of time capsule. Sealed for 5.5 million years, its air is thick with hydrogen sulfide, a gas lethal to most life. Yet here, in utter darkness, thrives a menagerie of blind scorpions, translucent spiders, and water scorpion species found nowhere else. They survive by eating the cave's toxic fumes, their existence rewriting biology's rulebook. Scientists compare it to finding life on another planet, proving that even in Earth's most hostile corners, adaptation thrives. And yet, for every famous cave, dozens remain overlooked. Croatia's Blue Cave, where sunlight transforms the water into liquid sapphire, is often overshadowed by the country's coastal resorts. Or Malta's Hypogeum, a three-level necropolis carved 3,000 years before the pyramids, where echoes create strange, otherworldly harmonics. These places aren't just holes in the ground, they're libraries of stone, each layer a page in Earth's diary. The real question isn't what they've preserved, but what they're still hiding. After all, if a boy with a lantern could rewrite art history, what might the next curious explorer find? Africa's caves and canyons are more than geological wonders. They're living archives of human history and natural forces colliding in ways that defy imagination. Take South Africa's Kango Caves, where the walls echo with more than just dripping water. Here, the Sand People left intricate rock art thousands of years ago, their ochre-painted figures dancing across stalactites as if frozen mid-ceremony. These aren't mere drawings, they're a dialogue between culture and geology, where artists use the cave's curves to bring antelope and hunters to life. Today, the caves still hum with energy, their vast chambers hosting concerts where music reverberates through ancient passageways, blending modern creativity with primal resonance. Then there's Ethiopia's Soph Omar Cave, a labyrinth of limestone carved by the Wayab River into a sacred space unlike any other. For Muslims, it's where the Saint Soph Omar sought refuge, his prayers said to linger in the air. For Ethiopian Orthodox Christians, the cave's towering arches are a testament to divine craftsmanship. Pilgrims of both faiths navigate its shadowy passages, their flickering candles illuminating inscriptions in Ge'ez and Arabic, proof that devotion transcends boundaries. What's astonishing is how the river still flows through the caves, its waters shaping new passages even as visitors kneel in prayer beside them. This isn't just a cave, it's a living testament to the interplay of faith and nature. Few places on Earth rival the surreal beauty of Blythe River Canyon's Burke's Luck potholes. Named after a gold prospector who found neither fortune nor luck here, these swirling rock formations look like the surface of another planet. Over millennia, whirlpools carved cylindrical pits into the bedrock, their concentric rings telling a story of water's patient power. Local guides joke that the potholes are nature's pottery wheels, abandoned mid-creation. Yet beneath the whimsy lies a serious lesson. These formations are fragile. A single misplaced step can erode rock that took centuries to form, a reminder that wonder and vulnerability often go hand in hand. What makes Africa's underground realms extraordinary isn't just their beauty, it's their untapped potential. Vast networks like Algeria's Tassili Enadja caves, adorned with prehistoric art depicting giraffes and crocodiles in what's now the Sahara Desert, remain largely uncharted due to political unrest. In Madagascar, the Anjohibe caves hide ecosystems teeming with species found nowhere else, but funding for expeditions is scarce. The irony is striking. While satellites map Mars, pockets of our own planet lie in shadow, their secrets guarded by logistics and geopolitics. Yet perhaps that's the allure. These places refuse to be rushed or conquered. They demand respect not just for their physical challenges, but for the cultures and histories woven into their walls. To explore Africa's depths is to confront a paradox. The more we uncover, the more we realize how much remains hidden. And in that tension between knowledge and mystery, the continent's caves and canyons find their truest power. Oceania's caves and canyons aren't just shaped by water. They're alive with it, pulsing in the dark, glowing in the depths, and whispering stories older than the continents themselves. Take New Zealand's Waitomo glowworm caves, where the ceiling becomes a mirror of the night sky, not with stars, but with the soft blue light of thousands of bioluminescent larvae. These tiny creatures spin silk threads like fishing lines, their glow luring prey into the darkness. To glide through the caves by boat is to float through a living galaxy, one where the constellations are born from biology, not astronomy. For the Maori, these caves are tapu sacred, a physical bridge between the world of light and the realm of ancestors. Scientists, meanwhile, study the glowworm's chemical reactions, marveling at how evolution crafted such an efficient, eerie survival tactic. Australia's Genelan caves tell a different kind of story. Here, the walls are studded with fossils from a time when this land was part of Gondwana, a supercontinent that fractured apart like a puzzle dropped from the sky. The bones of ancient marsupials, long extinct, lie beside the imprints of plants that haven't grown here for 340 million years, but the caves aren't frozen in time. Stalactites still form at a glacial pace, their droplets carrying minerals that, under ultraviolet light, fluoresce like neon signs. It's as if the cave itself is breathing, slowly exhaling new formations while cradling the past in its limestone palms. Beneath the waves, the Great Barrier Reef's canyons are monuments to coral's quiet ambition. Towers of living rock rise taller than city skyscrapers, built over centuries by polyps no larger than a grain of rice. These submerged chasms are bustling metropolises, home to fish that flash like jewels and sea turtles that glide through the shadows like living fossils. For the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, these formations are songlines, paths etched into the land and sea by ancestral beings during the Dreamtime. To follow them isn't just navigation, it's a retelling of creation, a way to keep culture alive in the sway of the currents. Yet these wonders are racing against time. Rising sea levels, fueled by climate change, threaten to drown coastal caves before scientists can fully document their secrets. In the Solomon Islands, entire underwater cave systems have already vanished beneath the waves, taking with them undiscovered species and untold chapters of human history. The urgency isn't just academic. These places are libraries of climate data, of evolutionary marvels, of cultural memory. To lose them isn't just to lose rocks and water, it's to lose pieces of the planet's soul. What makes Oceania's subterranean realms extraordinary is their duality. They're both archives and living narratives where science and spirituality don't compete but converse. A single cave might hold the key to understanding ancient climate shifts, while also serving as a sacred site where rituals have unfolded for generations. The glowworm's light, the coral's growth, the fossil's silence, they're all part of the same story, one that's still being written even as the water rises. And that's the fragile beauty of these places. They remind us that exploration isn't just about discovery, but about listening to the earth, to history, and to the cultures that have always known their worth. Technology has rewritten the rules of exploration, turning what was once guesswork into precision. In Myanmar's labyrinthine caves, drones equipped with LiDAR sensors pierced the darkness, revealing gold-leafed Buddhist temples hidden for centuries beneath thick layers of vines and sediment. These weren't just ruins, they were time capsules, their murals depicting daily life in the pagan kingdom so vibrant, it felt as if the artists had just laid down their brushes. The drone's lasers mapped every crevice in 3 dimensions, creating digital replicas accurate to the millimeter. Yet the real breakthrough wasn't the scanning itself. It was how these models allowed historians to walk through the caves without disturbing a single grain of dust, preserving fragile artifacts while still unraveling their secrets. This marriage of innovation and preservation isn't limited to Earth. Utah's Canyonlands National Park, with its jagged cliffs and bone-dry washes, became a proving ground for NASA and Mars rovers. Engineers quickly realized the terrain mirrored the red planet's harshness. The same dust storms that obscured ancient petroglyphs here could cloak Martian valleys. By training AI to navigate these canyons autonomously, scientists aren't just preparing for extraterrestrial exploration. They're refining tools that can peer into Earth's most inaccessible caves. Picture an algorithm analyzing a cavern's acoustics to predict unstable rock formations, or a rover's spectral sensors detecting pigments in prehistoric paintings invisible to the naked eye. The tech developed for space is ironically helping us rediscover our own planet, but for all its brilliance, technology still stumbles where instinct thrives. In France's Chauvet Cave, home to humanity's oldest known paintings, no scanner could interpret the meaning behind a 30,000-year-old handprint smeared beside a charging rhinoceros. That required the keen eye of an archaeologist who noticed the artist's crooked pinky, likely a genetic trait shared by their living descendants. Similarly, in Mexico's Sistema Huautla, cavers spent days belly crawling through passages narrower than a subway tunnel, places no drone could reach. Their reward, a crystal-clear underground lake, its surface undisturbed for millennia. These discoveries remind us that algorithms lack curiosity. They can't feel the thrill of a draft hinting at an uncharted chamber, or the gut sense that a seemingly ordinary rock wall might hide something extraordinary. The future of exploration lies in balance, leveraging machines to see farther while trusting humans to understand deeper. In Belize's Acton Tunashil Mucknell Cave, researchers blend both worlds. Thermal drones identify heat signatures of hidden passages, while local guides share oral histories that pinpoint ceremonial chambers modern science might overlook. It's a dance of data and tradition, where each step forward is guided by both microchips and millennia of storytelling. And with advances like AI-powered sediment analysis and real-time 3D mapping becoming mainstream, the next decade promises discoveries we can't yet imagine. The Earth's hidden corners are finally yielding their secrets, not to technology alone, but to the timeless partnership of human ingenuity and silicon precision. Climate change isn't just reshaping our coastlines and forests, it's rewriting the very geology of our planet's hidden realms. In the Alps, glaciers that have blanketed mountains for millennia are retreating at an alarming pace, revealing caves that haven't seen sunlight since the last ice age. These newly exposed chambers are like time capsules, their walls etched with clues about ancient climates. But there's a cruel irony here. As scientists rush to document these fragile spaces, the same warming air that uncovered them threatens to destabilize their delicate structures. Meltwater seeps into cracks, freezing and expanding until entire passages collapse, erasing history before it can be studied. Meanwhile, in the American Southwest, prolonged droughts are draining subterranean lakes that have existed for centuries. Arizona's Kochner Caverns, once home to shimmering pools reflecting towering stalagmites, now echo with the sound of dripping water growing fainter each year. For hydrologists, these vanishing lakes are more than scenic losses, they're vital reservoirs of data, their mineral-rich waters holding records of rainfall patterns stretching back hundreds of years. The same caves that sheltered indigenous communities during arid periods now stand as stark reminders of how drastically the climate has shifted. Some losses are irreplaceable. Take Iceland's Lofthillir Cave, where ice sculptures formed over centuries melt away like sandcastles at high tide. These intricate formations aren't just beautiful, they're frozen archives, their layers trapping air bubbles from Viking-era storms and volcanic eruptions. As they vanish, so does our chance to understand how the planet's climate behaved before human records began. Yet even as some caves disappear, others are being born. Rising carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere are making rainwater slightly more acidic, accelerating the dissolution of limestone. In Vietnam's Phong Nha Keletawanibibi Bang National Park, explorers are mapping new passages at record speeds, their headlamps illuminating tunnels that didn't exist a decade ago. This duality, destruction and creation, poses an ethical dilemma. Should researchers prioritize documenting newly accessible caves before they degrade, or focus on protecting stable ones from human interference? In Spain's Altamira cave, the answer came too late. After years of tourist visits, breath moisture and body heat triggered mold growth that obscured its famed Paleolithic paintings. Now, only a handful of scholars are allowed inside annually, their visits timed down to the minute. It's a cautionary tale for today's scientists, who must weigh the urgency of discovery against the risk of loving these places to death. The race to understand these shifting landscapes isn't just about geology, it's about legacy. Each cave, whether vanishing or emerging, tells a story about resilience and impermanence. As explorers inch through narrow passages with laser scanners and humidity sensors, they're not just cartographers of the underground, they're chroniclers of a planet in flux, capturing snapshots of a world that future generations may only know through data points and photographs. And perhaps that's the most profound lesson these hidden realms offer, that even the Earth's most enduring features are, in the grand scheme of things, fleeting. The human spirit has always been drawn to the unknown, but few push that instinct to its limits like the cavers and canyoners who venture into Earth's most unforgiving depths. Consider the team that descended into Venezuela's Imawari, Utah, a cave system so vast and uncharted that its quartz-lined chambers glitter like alien cathedrals. For 14 days, they navigated pitch-black tunnels, their headlamps cutting through air thick with humidity, mapping passages where no light had ever touched. One wrong step could mean plunging into a bottomless crevasse or triggering a rockfall, yet what they found was worth every risk. Hidden mineral formations, some shaped like delicate lace, others like towering frozen waterfalls, revealed a world untouched by time. Their expedition wasn't just about conquering the cave, it was about listening to it, learning its rhythms, and leaving it pristine for those who'd follow. Then there's Oman's Majlis Al Jinn, a cavern so enormous it could swallow the Statue of Liberty whole. Unlike team efforts, this space has long been the domain of solo explorers, drawn to its yawning void like moths to a flame. Picture abseiling down a rope for nearly 600 feet, the walls widening around you until you're dangling in a chamber so vast your shouts echo like whispers. One misstep with your gear, one frayed rope, and there's no rescue, just silence. Yet those who have made the journey speak not of fear but of awe. The cave's floor, littered with ancient stalagmites, tells a story of water and stone spanning millions of years. It's a humbling reminder that these places weren't made for us. We're merely guests passing through their timeless halls. What binds these adventurers isn't just courage, it's an unshakable ethic of conservation. In Mexico's Sistema Huautla, cavers' practice leave no trace to an almost surgical degree, packing out even their own footprints in soft sediment. When a team discovered a new passage in Thailand's Tham Luang cave, they painstakingly documented its formations without removing so much as a pebble, knowing these fragile structures took millennia to grow. Their respect has a purpose, to prove that true wilderness still exists, not as a resource to exploit, but as a testament to the planet's raw, untamed beauty. Perhaps that's the real legacy of these expeditions. They're not just about human endurance, but about humility, the understanding that some places should remain wild, their secrets guarded by sheer inaccessibility. Every unmapped tunnel, every untouched canyon wall is a silent pact between explorer and earth. Take only knowledge, leave only reverence. And in a world where so much has been catalogued and conquered, that's a revelation worth risking everything for. There's something unsettling about the way certain caves refuse to fit neatly into our understanding of the world. Take Turkey's Derinkuyu, an underground labyrinth stretching 18 stories deep, its tunnels wide enough for chariots and its ventilation shafts still functional after centuries. This wasn't just a refuge, it was a fully operational city, complete with stables, wineries, and even a school, all carved into volcanic rock. But the most baffling question isn't how they built it, it's why. Was it defense against invaders or something else? Locals whisper of ancient warnings etched into the walls, hints of a cataclysm that never came. The deeper you go, the more the air hums with the weight of unanswered questions. Then there's Nevada's Lovelock Cave, where Paiute oral traditions speak of the Seetikar, a race of red-haired giants who waged war against their ancestors. In the early 20th century, excavations unearthed bizarre artifacts, mummified remains with copper-colored hair, sandals far too large for human feet, and heaps of crushed bones suggesting cannibalism. Scientists dismiss it as misinterpreted evidence. Maybe the giants were just tall individuals, the hair discolored by time. But for the Paiute, these findings validate stories passed down for generations. It's a reminder that caves aren't just geological formations, they're repositories of cultural memory, where science and legend collide in the flicker of a headlamp. Modern explorers aren't immune to the uncanny. In Vietnam's Hang Son Doong, the world's largest cave, seasoned cavers report phenomena that defy logic, echoes that return seconds too late, as if bouncing off walls that shouldn't exist, or distant lights with no discernible source. Skeptics chalk it up to pressure differentials or bioluminescent fungi, but those who have experienced it swear the cave has a rhythm, a pulse that doesn't match any known natural process. Even the local jungle seems to respect its boundaries, vines curling away from the entrance like fingers recoiling from something unseen. What makes these mysteries endure isn't just their strangeness, it's the way they expose the limits of our knowledge. For every cave we map, there's another that resists explanation, its secrets guarded by darkness or sheer improbability. Maybe that's why we keep exploring, not to dispel the unknown, but to stand at its edge and marvel. After all, the moment we stop questioning is the moment the world becomes smaller, and these subterranean realms refuse to let that happen. Biodiversity flourishes in the most unexpected places, but nowhere is life's resilience more astonishing than in the eternal darkness of caves. These subterranean worlds are like arcs of evolution, where isolation and extreme conditions have sculpted creatures straight out of science fiction. Take Mexico's Cave of the Crystals, where temperatures soar to 136 degrees Fahrenheit, and the air is thick with toxic hydrogen sulfide. Yet, in this seemingly lifeless oven, microbes not only survive, they thrive. These extremophiles don't just endure the heat, they've evolved to eat the very minerals that would kill most organisms, rewriting the rules of biology. Scientists studying them say these microbes could be the key to understanding how life might persist on planets like Mars or Europa, where harsh conditions mirror Earth's most inhospitable corners. But it's not just microscopic life that defies expectations. In the underground rivers of Somalia's Muvile Cave, blind fish glide through pitch-black waters, their translucent skin revealing intricate networks of veins. With no need for eyes, their other senses have sharpened to an almost supernatural degree, detecting vibrations and chemical changes invisible to surface dwellers. Then there are the cave crickets of Kentucky's Mammoth Cave system, their long, spindly legs adapted to navigate jagged rocks without a single photon of light to guide them. These creatures aren't just oddities, they're masterpieces of adaptation, each one a testament to life's relentless creativity. The fragility of these ecosystems is as breathtaking as their diversity. A single misplaced step can crush delicate gypsum formations that took centuries to grow, or disrupt colonies of bacteria that have existed since before the pyramids were built. In Romania's Muvile Cave, where the air has been sealed off for 5.5 million years, scientists enter only after rigorous decontamination protocols, knowing that even a stray speck of pollen could destabilize an entire food web. This vulnerability has given rise to a new field, biospeleology, where researchers race to document species before climate change or human intrusion erase them forever. Teams now use non-invasive tools like infrared cameras and DNA sampling to study life without disturbing it, blending cutting-edge science with the reverence of archivists preserving a vanishing library. What these life forms teach us goes beyond survival. It's about redefining what life even means. In Spain's Cueva de los Verdes, fungi have been found growing on the walls, not by consuming organic matter, but by feeding on radiation from the cave's natural uranium deposits. This process, called radiosynthesis, suggests that life could exist in places we once thought barren, from deep space asteroids to the icy moons of Saturn. Meanwhile, in the lava tubes of Hawaii's Big Island, scientists discovered bacteria that thrive on nothing but volcanic gases, a discovery that expanded our understanding of how life might have begun on Earth and where it could flourish elsewhere. The irony is profound. These caves, often dismissed as barren voids, are in fact bursting with life that challenges our most basic assumptions. They force us to confront the arrogance of thinking we've seen all there is to see, or that life requires the conditions we're accustomed to. Every new discovery in these hidden realms is a humbling reminder. The universe is far stranger and far more inventive than we ever imagined. And as we search for life beyond our planet, it's these shadowy, fragile ecosystems that light the way, proving that where there's darkness, there's almost always something extraordinary waiting to be found. Ancient humans didn't just inhabit caves, they transformed them with a sophistication that still leaves modern engineers in awe. Malta's Hal Saflieni hypogeum is a perfect example. This sprawling underground necropolis, carved from solid limestone over 5,000 years ago, isn't just a maze of burial chambers, it's an acoustic masterpiece. Whisper a word in the oracle room, and the sound travels eerily through the corridors, amplifying as if the walls themselves are speaking. Archaeologists believe this wasn't accidental. The builders meticulously shaped the ceilings and alcoves to manipulate sound waves, possibly to create otherworldly effects during rituals. Imagine standing in that dimly lit space, voices echoing around you like spirits rising from the earth. It's a haunting reminder that prehistoric cultures understood their environment with a precision we're only beginning to decode. Then there's Cappadocia's underground cities, where entire civilizations thrived beneath the surface. Derinkuyu, the deepest of these subterranean metropolises, plunges 18 stories down with tunnels wide enough for 3 people to walk abreast. But it's the ventilation shafts that truly astonish. These narrow chimneys, some stretching over 170 feet to the surface, provided fresh air to thousands of residents while remaining virtually invisible from above. Even more impressive, the system was fail-safe. Heavy stone doors could seal each level independently, protecting inhabitants from invaders or toxic fumes during attacks. The builders didn't have blueprints or computers, just generations of accumulated knowledge about airflow, geology, and human resilience. What's striking is how these ancient engineers worked with nature rather than against it. In India's Allure caves, artisans carved the Kailasa temple from a single rock face, top down, like sculptors revealing a statue hidden in marble. One wrong strike could have collapsed the entire structure, yet they chiseled intricate pillars, bridges, and even a courtyard with mathematical precision. Similarly, the Nabateans of Petra channeled flash floods through a network of cisterns and tunnels, turning a desert gorge into a thriving city. These weren't crude survival tactics. They were acts of reverence, treating the earth as both partner and muse. Modern researchers are now uncovering the secrets behind these feats. In Chavín de Huanta, Peru, archaeologists found that ceremonial chambers align perfectly with solstice sunlight, while air ducts create low-frequency sounds that induce trance-like states. It seems ancient cultures didn't just build for function. They orchestrated multisensory experiences blending science and spirituality. Perhaps that's the real marvel, not the stones they moved, but the wisdom they embedded in them, waiting centuries for us to listen. From the moment Jules Verne sent his characters plunging into Iceland's Snæfellsjökull volcano in Journey to the Center of the Earth, literature and film have spun subterranean adventures into legends. But these stories aren't just flights of fancy, they're often rooted in real, breathtaking locations that blur the line between fiction and reality. New Zealand's Waitomo Caves, with their celestial glowworms, didn't just inspire Middle-earth's ethereal landscapes in The Hobbit. They became a character in their own right, their bioluminescent ceilings mirroring the stars of Tolkien's imaginary sky. Meanwhile, Arizona's Antelope Canyon, with its undulating sandstone walls lit by slivers of sunlight, has played backdrop to everything from car commercials to sci-fi films, its otherworldly contours proving almost too cinematic to be real. The allure of these places isn't accidental. Filmmakers and authors gravitate toward them because they tap into something primal, the thrill of discovery, the fear of the unknown, the sense that just beyond the next twist in the tunnel, something extraordinary awaits. Consider how Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom turned Sri Lanka's Damballa Cave Temple into a labyrinth of booby traps and hidden treasures. The real caves, adorned with centuries-old Buddhist murals, are no less dramatic, but their true magic lies in their stillness, their quiet defiance of time. Yet after the movie's release, tourist numbers surged, some visitors more focused on reenacting Indy's whip-cracking antics than preserving fragile frescoes. It's a paradox. These stories ignite our imagination but can also threaten the very places they celebrate. Yet for every cautionary tale, there's a story of wonder sparked by pop culture. After The Descent terrified audiences with its claustrophobic cave-dwelling creatures, interest in spelunking skyrocketed not just for thrills but for science. New enthusiasts joined conservation efforts, mapping uncharted passages or documenting delicate ecosystems. And when planet Earth showcased Vietnam's Son Doong Cave, its towering stalagmites and jungle-filled dolines captivated millions, turning a remote geological wonder into a symbol of Earth's fragile beauty. Suddenly, people who'd never given caves a second thought were donating to preservation funds or signing up for eco-tours led by local guides. The power of these portrayals lies in their ability to transform perception. A canyon isn't just a crack in the earth, it's a gateway to adventure, a testing ground for heroes, a metaphor for the human spirit. But with that power comes responsibility. When 127 Hours dramatized Aaron Ralston's harrowing ordeal in Utah's Blue John Canyon, it didn't just entertain, it underscored the very real dangers of unprepared exploration. The film's gritty realism reminded audiences that these landscapes demand respect, not just reverence. Perhaps that's the true legacy of these fictional quests. They don't just entertain, they educate, challenge, and occasionally even change us. The next time you watch a character swing across a chasm or decipher ancient cave paintings, remember, the real magic isn't in the special effects. It's in the way these stories compel us to look closer, to venture deeper, and to see the world beneath our feet not as a void, but as a living, breathing testament to the planet's endless capacity to astonish. The question of who controls these subterranean wonders isn't just about legal deeds, it's a collision of values where science, spirituality, and commerce often find themselves at odds. Take Thailand's Tham Luang Cave, where the dramatic rescue of 12 boys and their soccer coach in 2018 became a global spectacle. While international teams rallied to save lives, local elders quietly voiced concerns. To the Shan people, the cave isn't just a geological formation. It's the dwelling place of a protective spirit, Jiao Mi Nang Non, whose legend warns against disturbing her domain. For some, the massive operation with its drilled passages and pumped-out waters felt less like a rescue and more like a violation. The aftermath left a thorny legacy. Newfound fame brought floods of tourists, their footsteps eroding ancient floors, while offerings left at the cave's entrance spoke of lingering unease. It's a stark reminder that exploration, however noble its intent, can ripple far beyond the immediate crisis. Across the globe in the Appalachian Mountains, a different kind of tension unfolds. Here, private landowners sit atop labyrinths like Kentucky's Hidden River Cave, once a trash-filled pit before being restored as an eco-tourist attraction. On one hand, commercialization funds preservation. Entrance fees pay for lighting pathways and stabilizing fragile formations. But critics argue turning caves into theme parks prioritizes spectacle over science. When guides encourage visitors to tap stalactites to hear the music, or when Instagrammers scramble off trail for the perfect shot, the cost isn't always visible until a millennia-old formation crumbles underfoot. The debate splits even the caving community. Should these spaces be profit centers, classrooms, or sanctuaries left entirely wild? Indigenous custodians face even starker choices. In Australia's Northern Territory, the Murra people have spent decades battling uranium mining near the sacred caves of Kakadu. These caverns hold dreamtime stories etched into their walls where ancestral beings shaped the land. To the Murra, blasting tunnels for minerals isn't just environmental harm, it's cultural erasure. Their resistance, backed by UNESCO, forced mining giant Rio Tinto to abandon plans in 2021, but victory came at a price. The fight drained resources and divided communities, pitting short-term economic needs against eternal custodianship. Similar battles rage in Hawaii, where developers and native Hawaiians clash over lava tubes slated for resorts, and in Norway, where Sami herders protest cave tourism disrupting reindeer migration paths. Underlying these conflicts is a paradox. Caves, by their very nature, resist ownership. Water ignores property lines, carving passages that sprawl beneath multiple nations. Bats and blind fish don't recognize borders, yet humans insist on drawing boxes around the void, whether through mining leases, park boundaries, or sacred designations. Perhaps the solution lies in redefining stewardship altogether. In New Zealand, the Maori concept of kaishiakatanka guardianship, rooted in intergenerational responsibility, has inspired co-management agreements where scientists and indigenous leaders collaborate. In Slovenia's Postojna cave, biologists work alongside tourism boards to limit visitor numbers, protecting endemic ohms while sharing their wonder. These models aren't perfect, but they acknowledge a truth deeper than any cavern. These spaces don't belong to us. We belong to them, and our choices today will echo long after our footprints fade. There's a peculiar kind of silence in the underwater caves of Mexico's Sac Acton, a stillness so profound it feels less like an absence of sound and more like entering another dimension. Stretching over 200 miles, this submerged labyrinth isn't just the world's longest underwater cave system. It's a time capsule. Here, stalactites dangle like chandeliers from submerged ceilings, their tips pointing upward in defiance of gravity, formed during ancient ice ages when these passages were dry. Divers glide past mammoth bones and Maya pottery, relics preserved in the cool, mineral-rich waters like artifacts in a liquid museum. But this isn't a dive for the faint-hearted. At depths where nitrogen narcosis distorts perception, every flick of a fin must be measured. One wrong turn in the maze-like tunnels could mean disorientation, or worse, a silt-out that turns crystal waters into blinding clouds, trapping explorers in darkness. The mysteries don't end with geology. Florida's blue holes, submerged sinkholes dotting the Gulf floor, are veritable archives of prehistoric life. Paleontologists have hauled up mastodon teeth and saber-toothed cat bones from their depths, remnants of a time when sea levels were 300 feet lower and these caves were dry hunting grounds. But the real enigma lies in the Bahamas, where ocean holes deep, circular pits in the seafloor stir whispers of Atlantis. Local legends speak of sudden whirlpools and strange lights, while scientists probe their stratified layers for clues to abrupt climate shifts. Some theories suggest these formations could be sinkholes linked to submerged karst systems, their sheer walls preserving sediment layers like pages in a diary of Earth's turbulent weather history. What makes these submerged caves so transformative is how they bridge disciplines. Marine biologists study blind, translucent cavefish that have evolved without pigments, while climatologists analyze stalagmites to reconstruct ancient rainfall patterns. In the Yucatan's cenotes, layers of hydrogen sulfide separate freshwater from saltwater like a floating mirror, creating zones where microorganisms thrive without oxygen, a potential blueprint for life on Europa or Enceladus. Yet for all their scientific value, these caves remain stubbornly elusive. Less than 10% of Sac Acton has been mapped, and new connections are still being discovered, like in 2018 when divers found a passage linking it to the Dos Ojos system, adding another 50 miles to its known length. The challenge isn't just technical, it's philosophical. To explore these spaces is to confront the limits of human endurance and technology. Rebreathers, which recycle exhaled air to extend dive times, allow scientists to linger longer in the abyss, but no gadget can replicate the instinct of veteran cave divers like the late Jill Heineth, who described these expeditions as swimming through the veins of the planet. And as robotic probes venture deeper, revealing chambers no human could survive, we're left with a humbling truth. Earth's final frontiers aren't just on distant continents or in space. They're right beneath us, hidden under layers of water and rock, waiting for the next generation of explorers to illuminate their secrets. Photographing the depths of the earth is no ordinary feat. It's a dance with darkness where every shot demands patience, precision, and a willingness to dangle over sheer drops for the perfect angle. Take Robbie Shon, one of the world's foremost cave photographers, who spends weeks underground in places like China's Wang Dong, where caverns are so vast they've been known to generate their own weather. His toolkit, fiber optic lights that paint formations with delicate, pinpoint illumination, and cameras capable of exposures lasting hours, capturing hues the human eye could never perceive unaided. The result, images that transform jagged stalactites into glowing chandeliers, or mineral-streaked walls into abstract masterpieces. But these photos aren't just art, they're vital records. In Slovenia's Postojna cave, time-lapse photography has tracked the slow growth of formations over decades, offering scientists clues about climate shifts hidden in the drip of mineral-rich water. Yet every flash of light in these fragile ecosystems comes with consequences. In New Mexico's Lechuguilla cave, photographers work under strict protocols to avoid introducing heat or moisture that could disrupt delicate gypsum crystals, some as thin as human hair. The ethical tightrope is real. While images raise awareness, they also risk fueling an insatiable public appetite to see it for themselves. After a viral photo spread of Vietnam's Hang Son Doong, tourist numbers skyrocketed, leading to eroded paths and littered trails. Some cavers argue certain caves should remain unphotographed, their wonders preserved only in memory, a modern echo of the Navajo belief that some landscapes are too sacred to be captured. The tension between revelation and preservation isn't new, but technology has amplified it. Drones now map caves without human intrusion, yet their whirring rotors can disturb bat colonies. High-resolution scans create 3D models for research, but could they also become virtual tourism blueprints? Even lighting techniques spark debate. While LED panels reveal hidden details, purists insist true cave photography should use only natural light, no matter how faint. The question lingers like mist in a cavern. Does documenting these spaces protect them, or does it strip away the very mystery that makes them worth protecting? Perhaps the answer lies in intention. When photographer Stephen Alvarez documented the ancient rock art of Tennessee's Mud Glyph Cave, his images became tools for conservation, helping secure the site's protection. Similarly, the no-flash rule in Francis Lascaux's replica ensures the original's pigments remain untouched. In the end, cave photography isn't just about light and shadow, it's about balance. Each snapshot holds a choice to illuminate the unknown while honoring the darkness that keeps it sacred. And in that choice, we define not just what we see, but what we leave unseen. The thrill of exploring caves has never been more accessible or more dangerous for the very places that inspire our awe. In Thailand's Tham Lot Cave, where bamboo rafts once carried quiet groups past towering stalactites, the roar of speedboats now echoes off ancient walls. The math is brutal. Every footstep on soft limestone floors wears away layers that took millennia to form, while the carbon dioxide from thousands of exhaled breaths reacts with moisture to create acidic films that dissolve delicate formations. Guides point to patches where once vibrant mineral deposits have dulled under the glare of smartphone flashes, their colors fading like old photographs left in the sun. Yet for local communities, these visitors are lifelines. After the collapse of traditional industries, cave tourism feeds families, funds schools, and preserves cultural knowledge that might otherwise vanish. It's a paradox as intricate as the caves themselves. Protect them too strictly, and you risk erasing the livelihoods tied to their wonder. Open them too widely, and you love them to death. Norway's Trollkirke cave offers one possible balance. Here, permits cap daily visitors at 50, with timed entry slots that prevent overcrowding. Rangers lead small groups along designated paths, their boots fitted with soft soles to minimize impact. The trade-off, explorers accustomed to unfettered access chafe at restrictions, while locals debate whether privileging foreign adventurers over community members is fair. Still, the results speak for themselves. Compared to unregulated sites, Caretakers formations gleam with near-pristine clarity, and rare cave-dwelling mosses flourish in the damp recesses. The lesson isn't just about numbers, it's about redefining what exploration means. When visitors must apply months in advance, they arrive not as consumers of an experience, but as stewards of a privilege. Technology dangles tantalizing alternatives. Virtual reality tours of New Mexico's Carlsbad caverns let armchair explorers navigate twisting passages without disturbing a single bat, while 3D printed replicas of Francis Lascaux's paintings allow tactile engagement with art too fragile to touch. Yet for all their innovation, these substitutes lack the visceral punch of standing in a cavern's echoing silence, feeling the chill of ancient air on your skin. The disconnect reveals an uncomfortable truth. Part of what makes caves magical is their resistance to replication. You can't digitize the way humidity clings to your clothes or the sudden vertigo of peering into a bottomless shaft. The way forward may lie in reimagining the entire tourism model. In Belize's Acton Tunishil Muknal, guides don't just lead tours, they teach. Visitors learn to spot archaeological fragments without touching them, to recognize the difference between a harmless drip and corrosive condensation from their own breath. By the time they wade into the cave's inner chambers, they're not just spectators, they're participants in preservation. Similarly, Australia's Genelan caves funnel ticket revenue into micro-restoration projects, letting donors sponsor the repair of individual stalagmites. These approaches don't eliminate impact, but they transform passive visitors into active allies. The question isn't whether we should explore these hidden worlds, but how we can honor their fragility while satisfying our hunger for wonder. From the glowworm-lit streams of New Zealand to the ice palaces of Iceland's glaciers, caves remind us that some beauty thrives only in darkness, and that our greatest challenge isn't uncovering secrets, but knowing when to step back and let the shadows keep them. Watch any child with a pile of blankets and chairs, and you'll witness an ancient instinct in action, the urge to carve out a hidden space, a sanctuary from the world. This isn't just play, it's an echo of our primal past when caves meant survival. Psychologists call it denning behavior, a hardwired impulse tied to humanity's earliest days, when sheltering in rocky overhangs meant safety from predators and the elements. That same drive explains why kids dig holes in sandboxes or drape sheets over tables, creating miniature caves of their own. There's something deeply comforting about enclosed spaces, a tactile connection to a time when darkness wasn't something to fear, but a protective embrace. Educational programs like Kentucky's Mammoth Cave Junior Ranger tours tap into this innate curiosity, transforming it into a gateway for learning. Kids don't just hear about stalactites, they measure their growth rates with calipers, learning how a single drop of water carries minerals that build formations over centuries. They track bat populations, discovering how these winged residents keep ecosystems healthy by devouring insects. It's hands-on science disguised as adventure, proving that caves aren't just relics of the past, but classrooms for the future. The real magic happens when a child's flashlight beam catches a glint of calcite, and suddenly, geology isn't a textbook lesson, it's a treasure hunt. Literature has long fueled this fascination, with stories like The Secret of the Old Cave or Tom Sawyer's underground escapades turning hollows and tunnels into realms of possibility. These tales do more than entertain, they plant seeds of stewardship. When a young reader follows a character deciphering ancient cave paintings or protecting a hidden ecosystem, they're not just absorbing plot twists, they're internalizing the idea that these places matter. Modern authors take this further, weaving in themes of conservation. In The Last Bear, Hannah Gould's protagonist fights to save Arctic wildlife, while the Wild Robot series explores harmony between technology and nature. The message is clear: exploration isn't just about discovery, but responsibility. The ripple effect of nurturing this curiosity can't be overstated. Consider the story of Sophie, a 7-year-old who joined a family caving trip in Missouri's Onondaga Cave. A guide pointed out a rare cave salamander, its translucent skin glowing under UV light. That moment sparked a passion. Today, she's a marine biologist studying extremophiles in underwater caves. Or take Carlos, whose childhood love of journey to the center of the earth led him to volunteer with a cave conservation corps, restoring damaged formations in New Mexico. These aren't outliers, they're proof that wonder, when given space to grow, can shape lives. Yet the challenge remains: how to balance accessibility with preservation. Interactive apps like Cave VR let kids navigate digital caverns, spotting virtual bats and tracing underground rivers without leaving home. Museums build replica caves where young hands can touch stalagmites without harming the real thing. And some parks offer Leave No Trace workshops, teaching families to admire without altering, like using red light filters to protect nocturnal creatures' eyesight. The goal isn't to keep kids out of caves, but to equip them with the mindset of guardians, not just visitors. Because the children who whisper secrets into echo chambers today might be the ones unlocking the cave's scientific secrets tomorrow, or fighting to ensure they're still there for the next generation to explore. The idea of caves isn't confined to Earth. Our very own Moon and Mars hide labyrinthine passages that could rewrite the future of space exploration. Picture lunar lava tubes, cavernous tunnels stretching for miles beneath the Moon's surface, their ceilings arched like cathedral vaults. These formations, forged by ancient volcanic rivers, aren't just geological curiosities, they're potential sanctuaries. Shielded from deadly cosmic radiation and micrometeorite showers, these tubes could offer astronauts ready-made habitats, their rocky walls acting as natural insulation against the Moon's extreme temperatures. Scientists studying Iceland's Lofthalir lava tubes, Earth's closest analog, have already begun testing construction techniques for lunar bases, using 3D printed regolith bricks to reinforce unstable sections. The lesson is clear: to live on other worlds, we might need to think like cave dwellers once again. Mars takes this concept even further. Valles Marineris, the solar system's largest canyon, isn't just a scar on the red planet's surface, it's a potential gateway to subterranean oceans. Recent satellite imagery reveals strange, recurring slope-linear dark streaks that ebb and flow with the seasons, hinting at briny water seeping from underground reservoirs. If confirmed, these hidden aquifers could be game changers, providing not just drinking water for future colonists, but the raw materials for fuel and agriculture. But the real prize might lie deeper still. Radar scans from the European Space Agency's Mars Express orbiter have detected eerie, echo-free zones beneath the planet's south pole, suggesting vast networks of water-filled caverns. These could be the closest thing to Earth-like environments in our solar system, dark and pressurized chambers where microbial life might cling to existence, just as extremophiles do in Earth's deepest caves. The parallels between Earth's caves and their extraterrestrial counterparts go beyond mere geology. Training for Martian missions now includes expeditions to places like Hawaii's Mauna Loa lava tubes, where astronauts practice navigating pitch-black terrain with only headlamps and handheld sensors. The goal, to hone the instincts needed for exploring Martian caves, where GPS won't work and every shadow could hide a scientific breakthrough or a deadly collapse. Meanwhile, robotic scouts like NAS, a Cave-R rover prototype, are learning to map unstable tunnels autonomously, their laser eyes piercing dust clouds that would blind human explorers. What makes these off-world caves so compelling isn't just their utility, it's their mystery. The moon's Marius Hills pit, a gaping vertical shaft spotted by Japan's Selene orbiter, drops into darkness so absolute that scientists still debate whether it leads to a single chamber or a sprawling underground network. On Mars, the Hellas Chaos region hides cavern entrances so perfectly circular they look almost artificial, sparking debates about volcanic origins versus ancient, collapsed voids. These aren't just holes in the ground, they're puzzles waiting to be solved, each one a potential Rosetta Stone for understanding planetary evolution. As we push the boundaries of exploration, caves remind us that the universe's secrets aren't always where we expect them. The next giant leap for humanity might not be a footprint on a distant plain, but the flicker of a headlamp in an alien cavern, illuminating formations no human eye has ever seen. And when that moment comes, it won't just be a triumph of engineering or courage. It'll be a homecoming of sorts, proof that no matter how far we travel, the call of the underground remains as primal as the stars themselves. Long before scientists mapped stalactites or measured groundwater flow, cultures worldwide wove intricate tales about what or who lurked beneath the earth. In Norse mythology, dwarves weren't just skilled metalworkers, they were the living soul of the mountains, their forges shaping the world's very foundations. These stories weren't mere fantasy, they were survival guides disguised as legend. A cave emitting strange odors might house a dwarf's furnace, but it could just as easily hide a lethal pocket of sulfuric gas. The Filipino Encantos, ethereal beings said to dwell in limestone caverns, served a similar purpose. Their whispered warnings kept children from wandering into flash flood zones, while their supposed disdain for loud noises discouraged behavior that might trigger rockfalls. Even Iceland's Surreal troll church arches, where basalt columns resemble pipe organs, come with a backstory. Locals claimed the formations were petrified trolls caught in sunlight, a poetic explanation for erosion's slow, inexorable work. What's fascinating is how these myths evolve without losing their edge. Take West Virginia's Mothman, a red-eyed creature first sighted near abandoned WW2 munitions tunnels in the 1960s. Though skeptics blame misidentified owls or mass hysteria, the legend endures because it taps into something primal, the unease of standing at a cave's mouth, knowing the darkness could hide anything. Modern explorers might carry gas detectors and headlamps, but their spines still tingle when echoes bounce back a half-second too late, as if something unseen answered their call. This isn't ignorance, it's instinct. Our brains are wired to anthropomorphize the unknown, to fill voids with faces. When cavers in Mexico's Sistema Huautla report fleeting shadows at the edge of their light beams, they're experiencing the same impulse that inspired Navajo stories of the Maya coyote spirits said to guard subterranean waterways. Science and folklore aren't rivals, they're dialects of the same language. Geologists might decode crystal formations as mineral deposits, but to the Maori of New Zealand, they're the tears of the goddess Hainui Te Po, shed as she retreated into the underworld. Both perspectives hold truth. One reveals how caves form, the other why they matter. Even today, when biologists discover blind, translucent fish in lightless pools, it's hard not to recall Slavic tales of Vodianoi, shape-shifting water demons with translucent skin. The difference, now we marvel at evolution's ingenuity instead of fearing a curse. Yet for all our technology, caves retain their emotional grip. Ultrasonic bat detectors can map colonies, but they can't dispel the goosebumps when thousands of wings surge past in the dark. Thermal cameras might debunk ghostly mists as temperature gradients, yet the urge to name what we can't fully explain persists. Perhaps that's the real magic of these stories. They honor the humility that true exploration requires. To descend into a cave is to acknowledge that some mysteries resist instruments, that wonder isn't the opposite of knowledge, but its companion. After all, the oldest myth might be the truest, that beneath the surface, the world is stranger than we dare imagine. Think about this. Right now, beneath your feet, there could be a cave system so vast it rivals the Grand Canyon, waiting silently in the dark. With 80% of Earth's caves still uncharted, the potential for discovery isn't just exciting, it's almost unimaginable. Picture teams of researchers in Borneo lowering sensors into sinkholes no human has ever entered, their devices picking up echoes from chambers large enough to hold skyscrapers. Or imagine an AI algorithm cross-referencing satellite data with geological surveys, flagging a remote mountainside in Patagonia as the probable entrance to a labyrinth stretching for miles. The tools we have today, LiDAR, machine learning, even humble smartphone apps that let hikers log cave entrances, are democratizing exploration in ways Jules Verne couldn't have dreamed. But the real revolution isn't just technological, it's philosophical. Gone are the days when cavers proudly hammered pitons into pristine formations or scribbled their names on ancient walls. The new ethos to explore with the lightness of a shadow. In Slovenia's Križna Jama, explorers now wade through crystal-clear rivers in sterilized wetsuits, their headlamps fitted with filters to protect endemic algae. Over in Brazil's Toca da Boa Vista, researchers collect bat guano samples with the precision of surgeons, knowing a single misplaced step could crush a rare, blind scorpion that's existed nowhere else for millennia. This shift from conquerors to caretakers isn't just polite, it's essential, because what we're finding is that caves aren't empty voids, they're living libraries, their shelves stacked with evolutionary marvels and climate records we're only beginning to decode. Take the recent discovery in Myanmar's Kakabo Razi region, where a team using drones stumbled upon a vertical shaft leading to a network of caves isolated for millions of years. Inside, biologists found mosses that glow faintly blue under UV light, a possible adaptation to attract pollinators in perpetual darkness. Meanwhile, in the underwater caves of the Yucatan, hydrogeologists are tracking how microscopic organisms purify water, a process that could inspire breakthroughs in wastewater treatment. These aren't just curiosities, they're keys to solving real-world problems, from antibiotic resistance to carbon sequestration. Yet for all our progress, some questions remain stubbornly unanswered. Why do certain cave systems emit low-frequency hums like the so-called singing caves of Vietnam? What created the perfectly spherical stones in Mexico's Cave of the Crystals? And perhaps most tantalizing, how many undiscovered passages still connect beneath our feet, their entrances hidden by landslides or vegetation? The answers won't come easily. They'll require patience, humility, and a willingness to leave some stones unturned, literally. Because sometimes the greatest act of exploration is knowing when to step back, to let the darkness keep its secrets a little longer. After all, in a world where everything seems mapped and measured, isn't it thrilling to know there are still places where the unknown thrives? As we emerge from the depths of these lost canyons, caves, and caverns, their echoes linger in our minds. They remind us that Earth's greatest stories aren't just written in books, they're carved in stone, hidden in darkness, and waiting beneath our feet. Whether through science, adventure, or quiet reflection, these subterranean wonders invite us to look beyond the surface. So next time you see a mountain or a canyon, remember, the most extraordinary chapters of our planet's history may lie just out of sight. If this journey sparked your curiosity, share your favorite underground mystery in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more explorations into the unknown. The allure of these hidden worlds isn't just about what we've discovered, it's about what remains unseen. For every cave system we've mapped, there are countless others waiting in the shadows, their entrances perhaps concealed by dense jungle or sealed beneath shifting sands. Consider the recent discovery in China's Guangxi region, where farmers stumbled upon a sinkhole leading to a primeval forest, its towering trees and rare species untouched for centuries. Or the ongoing search for the rumored City of the Caesars, said to lie hidden in Patagonia's labyrinthine caves, its golden streets guarded by glaciers and time. These aren't just gaps on a map, they're invitations to wonder, proof that even in our hyper-connected age, the planet still holds cards close to its chest. But the true magic of these places isn't just their secrecy, it's their ability to connect us across time and culture. When a climber in Oman's Majlis Al-Jinn traces fingerholds worn smooth by ancient herders, or when a diver in Mexico's cenotes floats past Maya pottery left as offerings 1,000 years ago, the boundary between past and present blurs. These encounters remind us that exploration isn't just about pushing physical limits. It's about touching the human stories etched into the rock. A cave painting in Indonesia's Sulawesi, dating back 45,000 years, isn't just pigment on a wall. It's a voice from the dawn of consciousness, whispering across millennia. Yet with every revelation comes responsibility. The same technologies that help us explore drones, 3D scanners, satellite imaging also risk turning sacred spaces into spectacles. Bhutan's Taksang Monastery, clinging to its cliffside cave, now limits visitor numbers to preserve both its spiritual sanctity and its fragile geology. In Australia's Genelan caves, caretakers use ultraviolet lights to reveal fluorescent minerals without harming them, proving that wonder and conservation can coexist. The lesson is clear: to honor these places is to approach them with humility, to listen as much as we look, and to leave no trace but our awe. So where does this leave us, the curious and the captivated? Perhaps with a renewed sense of scale. In a single stalactite's slow drip, we see the patience of deep time. In a cavern's echoing silence, we hear the hush of the unknowable. These landscapes teach us that discovery isn't just about finding answers, it's about learning to ask better questions. What might we uncover in the next uncharted passage? How will future generations explore these realms with tools we can't yet imagine? The only certainty is that the Earth's hidden wonders aren't done with us yet. As the great caver Edouard Alfred Martel once said, "To explore is to measure one's ignorance, so keep looking down, not just up." The next time you walk over a grassy field or along a rocky ridge, take a moment to consider what lies beneath. Because the greatest adventures aren't always the ones that take us farthest away. Sometimes they're the ones waiting right below in the quiet, enduring darkness. And who knows, the next great discovery might just have your name